seems like the natural
Hiya folks, welcome to another show episode of A Drink with Tariq on a rainy Wednesday rainy Wednesday evening. And rocking start, a song done by Chitra Somapala, who was my host last week, and the only rocker with the international fame. You know, it's Chitty. If you're listening in, mate, great track. It's called Homeland from his album Homeland. And folks, it's my pleasure and a privilege to invite this special guest on my show, and I was very excited to have her on the show. One of the ladies that I have met in my life, you know, one of the most outspoken, amazing personalities that I have, you know, my lifetime to come across, and I thought that, you know, I should have her on my show. And Rosanna, it's a great pleasure to have you, and thank you very much for being here.
My pleasure entirely, Tariq. Thank you for having me on the show.
Brilliant to have you on the show. Are you a rocker? You know, have you heard of Chitra? You know,
Absolutely. Who hasn't heard of Chitra?
Oh, Chitty, that's a compliment, mate. You know, if you're listening in, and there you go, you got fans out here. You appreciate what you do, and once again, you know, thank you very much for being on the show last week. And it was a great pleasure having you. And apologies for the technical difficulties we had, and we tried to overcome by we upgraded. And a big thank you to all those people who came forward. Rosanna, there are good people out there like you, and who came and sponsored, you know, all this equipment. And I hope people that the audio and the video quality is much better than last week. And please give us your feedback to see how it is. And it's all over to Rosanna, my host. You know, she's the star of the show this evening, Rosanna. And as I said, you know, that it's great to have you. And I'm just wondering, you know, where to start. You know, you've been an activist. You know, you are, you know, to me, you know, the reason why I decided to have you on the show. I have had a lot of, you know, sports personalities, and, you know, Chitra also with a sporting background. And then I thought, okay, my show is going in one direction, and I of course I had Pastor Kirby on the show, and that was a fantastic show.
Wow.
And thank you to Kirby as well, and it was an eye-opening, and we discussed about a lot of things that, you know, which people were not aware of, you know, like, you know, people made accusation of, you know, Kirby, and, you know, that, you know, we managed to clear out, you know, lots of things, that, you know, lots of questions. The same way, now I'm going to ask you, Rosanna, you've been an exceptional human being, and you, out of all ordinary people, you are not a normal day-to-day life, a lady that I would meet, that you are being different. I don't know. You got to tell us that at what point you realize that you are not a normal person, and I think that's where we're going to start. And you're going back to your childhood and how it all started.
So first and foremost, we don't use the word normal because normal is just something that the heterosexual community uses to say that they're different from us queer folk.
Queer?
Yes, very queer.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
very queer. Yeah. We're taking back that word, by the way. Yeah.
All right.
Queer is a good word now, used by us, of course. Yeah. But I realized I was different. Let's put it that way.
What point did you realize that you were real?
When I was like 4 or 5 years old. Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago?
4 or 5 years old.
4 or 5 years old. Okay.
Not only are you technically challenged, I think you need a hearing aid.
I know, I can't. This is what he does. It's all the rain outside. Yeah. Thank you, Machan. Go ahead. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. I love. Folks, I'm going to love this show. Talking to this lady. I told you, expecting nothing but fireworks in the
Call me a woman, Machan. Don't call me lady. I am certainly not a lady. Yeah. Now, right. I'm going to give you a new vocabulary by the time this show is over. So, don't feel bad when I correct you. Yeah.
Okay? No. It's all about
part and parcel of the whole, scenario here. So yeah, I realized I was different when I was a very young kid. I mean, I'd like to play all the manly sports or boyish sports, and you come from a cricketing background. I was on one of the first women's cricket teams in the 70s to play for Colts.
Really?
Yes.
Did you play with Minoli and all those girls? Remember that pretty little thing?
I also remember the pretty little thing.
Oh, I always remember.
Well, if you don't remember me, then I was a pretty little thing too. Come on, yeah.
Rosanna, I'm sure that's the reason why I knew that there's a connection, and the reason why I asked you to be on my show. Okay, all right.
Yeah. I'm going to take the piss out of you, so you better be prepared, Machan.
Take all the piss you want to take out. Not a problem.
Yeah. So I was very sports inclined and got colors in various sports as well. Swimming was my major sport, and then it went on to various other things like water polo, cricket, rugby, things like that. And then I went to the States, and so I was having a hard time like coming out because everybody around me was like so homophobic at that time. I mean, you're struggling because this was in the 70s when there was no like organizations like the one that I run right now. So that people didn't.
What's the organization you run right now?
The organization I run right now, and I founded the organization as well. It's called Equal Ground. So it is based on the premise that equal playing field. So my sports background comes there as well in naming the organization. But this is the only organization that has survived 15 years of craziness. And it's still going strong, and we are the only organization fighting for the rights of lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgenders, intersex, questioning persons, and the queer community as a whole. Obviously, it is a taboo subject sometimes in Sri Lanka, but getting more traction as we go along, and I can actually pat myself on the back and Equal Ground, my organization, for all the work that they have done over the course of these 15 years. It has really opened the doors for more conversation about the issues, more acceptance, more support. Politicians have tried to politicize it and use it as a tool to take the piss out of other politicians or put them down, and of course that's just goes to show the caliber of politicians that we have here in Sri Lanka when they can't accept 20% of the community based on their sexual orientation or gender identity. So, yeah.
Brilliant. So, is this organization is mainly about acceptance, or is recognition, or how does it go? Like what do you expect to do?
On many levels. One is we advocate for rights, for equal rights. And in Sri Lanka at the moment, still after 136 years of British colonial rule, bringing in laws that basically criminalize consenting same-sex sexual relationships. And in 1995, that was amended to include women as well. So you're sitting in front of a criminal matter. I hope you are getting ready for this, yeah?
You're talking about the 365, that's the law, isn't it? But I thought that was
365A.
365A that it was amended. It is not
No.
It's not criminal anymore for you to live with a partner.
Oh no. It's still on the statute books. It's still on the statute books, and people are getting arrested. There were over 45 arrests this year alone.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
So these are facts that don't come out because people tend to.
Arrested for what? Living with the same gender.
Arrested on 365. Most often it goes up to magistrate level and then it's because you have to have witnesses to the act, so to speak. But it's one way that LGBTIQ persons are harassed while walking on the streets by the police, by various other actors. Using the fact that most people are not comfortable to be out, like I am, big mouth. Yeah, I'm out. Yeah, but I don't care. And that is also it's who I am,
yeah.
and my parents were fine with it. My entire family and extended family has been fine with it. It's just a normal thing, like everybody else, yeah. And actually, to tell you the truth, we don't use the word normal because even the heterosexual community is far from normal, darling, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you.
All their proclivities, yeah. So we don't talk about that, but we always try to say that we, the LGBTIQ community, is abnormal. For loving this, person of the same sex. So I think we need to move beyond that. This is the 21st century. There has been homosexuality in our culture for thousands of years. Yeah, it's like as though you're suddenly waking up from a dream and thinking, "My God, who are these people? They're bringing homosexuals from the West to turn the whole of Sri Lanka into homosexuals." And I've had.
There is no foreign conspiracy here. That's what you're saying. Yeah, there is no foreign conspiracy.
That's going on. Yeah, there's no foreign conspiracy. Not at all. I mean, they like to say it's from the West. I mean, but that it's human nature at its finest. Yeah. Except that most often we don't understand human nature because we choose not to understand human nature. And we choose to hate rather than love. We choose to marginalize rather than accept. These are human frailties. But religion also plays a major part in marginalizing people for who they are and what they are. It plays a major part in basically promoting patriarchy and this whole thing that man comes first. So Adam came first. And then Eve. Now, if anybody believes that story, and I've got a good one for my next life, which is like I'm going to be a stand-up comedian. So I have this whole thing on Adam and Eve, but I won't say it here because it might offend people.
You talk about next life. So you believe in that there's life
after death.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I'm a Buddhist.
I didn't know. By the way, if my sister.
No, I'm not a Buddhist. I'm a free-thinking, philosophical, logistical thinking person.
Great. My first cousin lives in UK. Sent me this question. Mm-hmm. Could you please ask her? Your name is Caldera, mm-hmm. And my mom's side, they're all Calderas, and that was trying to figure out.
Flaming cauldron, I am.
You're a flaming cauldron.
Yeah, Flamer Caldera, flaming cauldron. Yeah.
But you were not converted by the Portuguese somewhere down the line. That's how the Calderas came in my view. So I disassociate myself. Oh, I'm a Caldera. I'm a Serenite. I'm sorry, darling. Just kidding. Oh yeah.
But no, actually, I'm of Dutch descent. Yeah.
I can see your color.
Yeah. But then when you see my sister, she's darker than you, so you can't really tell from that. Okay. But my
so DNA.
Yeah, the DNA. My great-grandfather was a flamer, but he was an orphan. He was orphaned when he was very young, and he was taken in by a family of Calderas, fisher folk, in the Pandura area. And so, in sort of like to really respect them and to thank them for taking him in, he added the Caldera on.
Oh, that's how the Caldera name came.
So it's a very unique name. We are the only Flamer Calderas in the entire world. So if anybody comes and says, I'm a Caldera, I'm related to you, no. If you're a Flamer Caldera, you're related. If not, no.
You're special.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to be authentic.
There you go, sis. You heard it from the horse's mouth, how she became a Caldera. You said a very interesting thing, like whilst you were talking, see the taboo about the society. So you mean to say that it's a natural thing that you're saying that you were born this way, or that the circumstances that in your life that turned you this way, or please, I don't think many people, even myself, that understand.
Have you listened to the Lady Gaga song?
Which one?
Born This Way.
Born This Way.
Mm. That's it.
Is that how it goes? So you're born, you mean to say you were born exceptional, that you are not
Yeah,
like...
I'm definitely born exceptional.
So you reckon it's a natural thing that you were born this way?
Absolutely. I don't have to say it. It's scientific and it's proved. Yeah.
So you knew that when you were small,
Very
that
small,
you were...
that I was different. I couldn't place my finger on what exactly I was and why exactly I was the way I was,
Okay.
until much later when I started learning about different things.
But correct me if I'm wrong. That I'm pretty close to the gay community. Like I have lots of my mates, which I have no reservations, and there's no absolute no discrimination. And guys out there who are listening to me, that I've been a good friend to you. I've been always watch your back in circumstances. No, I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
But some of the guys have said that like the circumstances in life, when you talk to most of these people, they say that we were abused, somewhere down the line, that the abuse led them, what they are at the moment. So can you say, put a finger on it and say it's natural, but not the circumstances, just for my information?
No, well, you can say all kinds of things, yeah. And basically each story is different. Not everybody fits into this one mold. Yes, I was born this way and this is the way it is, yeah. Maybe some people think that because they were abused that they turned out to be gay or bisexual or whatever. But it has been proven that you are either gay or you're not. You can't cause somebody who is not gay to become gay, and you can't cause somebody who is definitely gay to be straight.
But how would you know that you're definitely gay?
How do you know that you're definitely straight?
Well, I'm not hitting on you right now, not just like I have. No, I wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't know people. Just I knew I'm gonna get slapped, somewhere down the show. People,
Yay! There's applause from the gallery. Thank you, ladies.
So then, what about transgender? You accidentally, you are in, one of those, like you hit one of them.
No, there's no accident. There's no accident. Listen, sexual orientation is one thing. Transgender and gender identity is a different thing. A gender identity is about somebody feeling opposite to what their biological sex is. Yeah, a lot of people go through life without making the changes, but they know that there's something that is missing in their life. And a lot of people who are transgender now, because of the publicity and the the availability of information and the availability of support groups and stuff like that, people are no longer shy to say that they're transgender. They're no longer worried about that phenomenon. Yeah, so it has nothing to do with their sexual orientation, who they might be, or who they might love. It's about their identification of themselves. Right?
Okay.
So that's a transgender.
But you fight for their rights as well.
I fight for everybody's rights, including women's rights, kids' rights, everybody's rights.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
People, these are kind of women that you want to meet every day, that that you could call a friend and who will stand by you. It doesn't matter who you are. But one thing, you don't fight for men's rights, do you?
I do. If they are,
will you fight for my rights?
I would fight for your rights. Like
really?
If you've been taken hold of in a white van tomorrow and you're languishing in jail, I'll come and give you some lump price.
Will you? Oh, no, that's great to hear, mate.
Yeah. I'm a burger nut. You're gonna get a lump ride.
I'm gonna take that ride, just to have your lump ride.
Please don't take that ride.
No, but it's very interesting what you say, that because
it's like this. You don't have to be gay to fight for gay rights. You don't have to be straight to fight for straight rights. You don't have to be a woman to fight for women's rights. You don't have to be a kid to fight for kids' rights. You certainly don't need to be an animal to fight for animal protection and rights. Yeah, I think it's incumbent of every one of us to be cognizant of the fact that there are people out there who don't have as much as we do. I mean, we're privileged in so many different ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah? I think I'm very privileged. And my privilege comes from the fact that I had amazing parents and I had an amazing family, including my extended family all over the world, who have had nothing but great things to say about my sexuality. And the fact that I'm doing this work, they are the biggest support that I have ever had, my entire extended family. So, if you're out there listening to this or seeing this, thanks so much. It means a hell of a lot to me, that you all support and that you're always there, to catch me when I fall. But that is privilege for me, because most, LGBTIQ persons are thrown out of their family homes. They're treated so badly. They're abused. They're beaten. They live on the streets. They have no support whatsoever. And
I was about to ask you. So as you said, you're lucky and you're privileged. See, before I could ask that question, you did answer that, you are privileged. What about, lots of thousands of people who are there, who still cannot come out of the closet, who they are.
So,
and so is there, do we have a structure, anything that is in place to take care of these people, or, how long will the society take to accept that it's part of the society and, be a part of it?
I think over the 15 years that Equal Ground has been doing this work, there has been a lot of change in societal thoughts or views about the LGBT community, and definitely there is a hell of a lot more support now than there ever was for LGBTIQ persons in this country. I mean, for the fact that one political party actually came out in support of LGBT rights, Anuruddha Kumara, the candidate for the JDP, has basically said that if he becomes president, he will decriminalize homosexuality. Mr. Sajid Premadasa did the same thing, came out on his manifesto, really definitely states that he's very interested in making sure that all citizens of this country are equal. And it doesn't matter whether you're gay, straight, whether you're a Muslim or a Tamil or a Sinhala or a burger, the vanishing burgers. Everybody needs to be treated with dignity, respect, and equality. I mean, what is this nonsense to try to polarize and marginalize people based on some archaic idea of what's right and what's wrong?
It's being pretty judgmental. That's what I lived in. I don't think my past that much. I lived in Africa, in the continent. To date, maybe because of their religious beliefs or whatever, that if you're a gay, you are in for a very perhaps through your world travels you would have realized in that part of the world it's absolutely no go, and I feel really, really bad for those people, because there is nobody, absolutely no one supporting them. And we being in the
that's wrong, because we have terrific activists in all these countries that are still have criminal sanctions against homosexuality. In Africa, we have amazing activists there. They are fighting an uphill battle, but we have to realize where these laws came from. British colonial laws came to us, and we still embrace them like they are our own laws. And most of the African countries that you're talking about have had British colonial laws,
absolutely,
criminalizing, consenting same-sex sexual relationships. So, we as members of the Commonwealth, we have the same laws that govern us, whether it's India or whether it's Pakistan, Bangladesh, Malaysia, Singapore, wherever. Some countries have decriminalized, like India just last year, Trinidad and Tobago.
When you say decriminalized, that means that the law has no.
It is no longer considered a criminal offense.
You cannot be prosecuted.
Exactly.
Is that what it says?
It's decriminalized.
So let's get this clear. So you can still be prosecuted in Sri Lanka.
That's right, and people are prosecuted.
But isn't there an amendment in the 365A?
Yes, the amendment made it that. Is this to pat my face? So yes.
Yes, you are. Yes.
Sorry.
Thank you, Dominic.
Thank you. Yeah. Basically, the 365 was amended to include everybody, women as well. So as a lesbian, I'm now also criminalized under that law. Whereas in most colonial countries, only male same-sex relationships was criminalized.
Okay.
So Sri Lanka took a step backwards rather than going forwards. They took out the word male from the text of that penal code, and now suddenly, all acts of gross indecency or carnal intercourse against the order of nature is And you're talking about archaic Victorian wording, what the heck is carnal intercourse against the order of nature? I'm still trying to figure out. I mean, you have, sex with your wife or girlfriend or whoever, heterosexual sex, and you use a condom. So that's against the order of nature, Mashan. I should send the police to arrest you.
Arrest me.
Yeah. But, it's not the straight people who are, targeted by these laws. It's always the LGBT community, So, and acts of gross indecency, I'm not really sure what acts of gross indecency means. I think that the entire government is committing acts of gross indecency. But here we are trying to figure out why gay people should be judged for acts of gross indecency. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
easy pickings, I guess.
Yes,
That's I suppose
exactly.
that we have already.
And in the past, the LGBT community has been afraid, has been very reluctant to come out. And rightly so, because they're so marginalized, they're so, violated constantly, So it has been a difficult journey for them, but I'm proud to say that, a lot of people are out now. There are a lot of people out there fighting for their rights and talking about, decriminalization and putting in policies of, non-discrimination and protection for the LGBT community. And this is, we are in the 21st century. It's been 136 years since the laws have been brought to this country. Isn't it time we get rid of the white man's law and just revert back to what we all were, enjoying life without any marginalization whatsoever, either based on race or either based on religion or sexual orientation or gender identity or whatever? I think it's so wrong for people who call themselves Buddhists and still marginalize people and still perpetrate violence against individuals. This is not the Buddhist way.
To cap it up, I think the most of these people who call themselves Buddhist or whatever, I don't think they have any clue what Buddha or Jesus or even perhaps Prophet Muhammad said. Little I know, as you know that I'm spiritual, but I'm a free thinker like you, and Buddha never discriminated anyone. Just I think I'm sure Jesus, I don't know in which chapter he said, before you make sure that you are free of sins, before you cast the first stone.
He who is without sin cast the first stone.
Exactly. That's what it's
It's like Catholic upbringing coming out. Oops, sorry.
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. Those people who started these religions, they were never judgmental. They were free thinkers.
I don't think any of them really started any religion. It's the people around them that started the religion. And while starting that religion, then it was men who actually, basically pushed religion onto, if you look at
for their own convenience.
Yes, exactly. All the religions, they're very patriarchal. They're run by men. Men tell people what to do. Men, make sure that women are subjugated and are treated as third-class citizens. It's religion that actually, in my opinion, deharmonizes the entire world. Right from day one, if you see where all the wars and all the conflict has, originated.
There's religion based on religion.
Yeah, it's based on religion.
Yep.
So yeah.
So you believe that not going back way back in time. So where we started, there certain people in this parliament. I'm not saying they're the greatest people or what as you said, talking about politics. They're called butterflies, Samanallu, and even me. I've been accused as a supporter of butterflies. That's exactly. I had absolutely no issue with those people. So you think that it's all wrong that that you are discriminating these people, whatever, based on
I don't think that discrimination is good on any level. I mean, you have such a hierarchical kind of society here as well, where people who are poor, who are of different castes, different classes. I disagree with any of this caste system. I think that everybody should be treated equally. I mean, we shouldn't be looking down at some person because he's wearing a broken pair of barter slippers because he can't afford to go and buy a new pair of shoes. I mean, who the hell do you think you are? If you think you're much better than that person is probably far more spiritual and kind-hearted and fantastic than you are, looking down on him, yeah, or her.
Absolutely, I agree with you. All these materialistic things, that they're just, it's all temporary. They come and go.
And where are you going to take all that money? Line your coffin, take it where? What part of heaven, if you believe in heaven, or hell, if you believe in hell? Your money will burn in hell, So it's like so stupid that all you want to do is, just power, grab power and money, and try to put yourself onto this plane that nobody can touch you. But hey, you're gonna die sometime, and you can't stop that process because life and death go hand in hand. And you know where you're gonna end up once you.
But personal growth, to me, I think in life, what I have learned, I am 56 years of my life on this earth. The greatest thing that I can have, the wisdom, and it's never ending. And that's like the UB40 track.
Mhm.
The more you learn, the less you know. It's all about
Absolutely.
why I decided to have this chat with you and try and learn something that which I didn't know, coming from bottom of your heart. You've been activist. I think to me, people, as you said, it's not about acquiring wealth, fame. Those are all temporary things which come and go. But your personal growth and acceptance and what it is, understanding who you are and have mutual respect for one another. That's what we are fighting for at the moment.
Absolutely. I mean, yesterday we were at the Wildlife and Nature Protection Society dinner, and they played the national anthem, and the Sri Lankan flag was waving, and all I could look and see, I couldn't even sing the anthem because I was feeling so sad. So sad because our country has gone down into this large hole that we're finding it very difficult to scramble out of. And if we go this way, we're just going to be like in a situation where we won't be able to reverse what's happening right now. I mean, this country has been decimated in so many different ways. It's like, a terrible thing. And when you look at the fact that even wildlife, nature around us is being destroyed by people who just want to make more money and more money. It's like, where are we going, and what are we going to do at the end of the day when you don't have clean drinking water, or you don't have a place to live?
Are you getting tired, my dear?
No,
you're
no,
right.
no.
You're fine.
I mean,
All right, people. This conversation is so intense. Sorry that I can see so many messages popping up, and the people who are tuned in. Big thank you to each and every one of you for being on the show. Once more, really value your participation and your contribution. And to me, it's a pleasure having this lady next to me saying so many things. And I hope you don't mind calling a lady. You're a lady at the end of the day.
now I can't be bothered anymore.
Yeah, exactly. My program director is getting my
woman.
So do I call you Machan?
You can call me Macha, you can
Is that
call me
alright?
anything, but
Yeah.
don't call me late for dinner. That's all.
Okay, all right. No, I won't. I won't do that.
Really
Just so big thank you to everyone. So, it's a pleasure listening to her. This absolute firebrand. That's it's the we are going to go for a very short break,
Yeah.
and we'll look at all the comments, and we'll come back, and if there are any queries, anything that you want to clarify, and please. And we'll be back in 5 minutes.
And maybe we can look at all the comments while we're on break and
Yes.
figure out how to do all of this.
Yep, we'll be back.
Right back.
Yep, thank you.
It's hard to find the sun, the moon, and the stars now begin to hide. You have been finding this romantic life through the sky. Girl, I'll be back someday when we can make it last. I'm on my way, cause to go. I'm afraid you'll get somebody to know. It's time to change and arrange the final love for eternity. Girl, I'm on my way. Why can't you understand? I see the view so sad that I'm used to show. and finally came to the point where we said goodbye. I'm on my way, coast to coast. I'm afraid you'll get somebody to know it's gonna change and arrange the crime of love for eternity. I'm on my way, coast to coast. I'm afraid you'll get somebody to know that I'm on my way. I'm afraid you'll get somebody to know it's time to change and arrange the crime of love for eternity. I'm on my way, coast to coast. I'm afraid you'll get somebody to know it's time to change and arrange the crime of love for eternity. I'm on my
Alright people, we are back again with Chitra Somipala, in the background. I'm on my way. What a great track, Chitra. Keep up the great work, buddy. You keep shining, and people like myself, Domi, and rest of my crew, and Rosanna, we'll all be supporting you.
Absolutely.
The beauty of it is the guy does the originals. For anyone to go outside the country and make a name for himself and produce this kind of music, I think it's simply amazing. And big shout out to, where's my list? Hang on a second. Where did I leave it? Dilanta Eliathambi, as usual, mate. Many thanks for your wonderful contribution. Master Gunawardana, thank you, mate. Niha Samara Surya, Amalija Wadana Sanaka, thank you for,
Can you imagine? Knock, knock.
Yeah. And Auntie Cleon, thanks, that I got this special person next to me, and I don't know what to call you, after the break, and this I've been threatened, so I'm a little.
I didn't threaten you.
No, you did not. The rest of the people, so now I'm on the back foot, but no, I'm just
And
kidding.
you think that back foot is not a very good thing to be on. You must always be on your front foot.
It does, it doesn't matter actually, whether you're on the front foot or back foot, as you started, it doesn't matter, where you go, with the front or the back, it's okay, so that's why, that you're on my show today. I had no preference, whether I would play on the front foot or on the back foot. I'm okay. Hey, a little dodgy. No. It's all cool. That's a Rosanna, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
You haven't already?
Well, I did not, but just this is something I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Some of my mates, who are listening out there, I know that you guys listening. As you said, yes, it is a taboo subject in not only in Sri Lanka. Still, although Western countries have accepted and it's legalized and it's all that is fine.
Yeah.
But you are the first person, probably the first person who claimed it's a natural thing. So, but some other thought said that as I said,
I'm actually not the first person. This is research has come to that conclusion.
Right.
And there's a lot out there that needs to be read. We're not the people who are saying this, that, and the other. We're coming into this party quite late. countries have long since decriminalized and got same-sex marriage and have all kinds of laws protecting LGBT persons. I mean, so all the research has been done and all the conclusions have been made, and these are conclusions that are already there. So I'm not the first person to come out and say it's a natural thing or whatever. I'm just telling people that the word natural is used a lot for in many ways, and when you call somebody not natural, you're only fooling yourself, because nature is the one that brought us to this life. We're all a product of nature. We're all natural. Yeah.
Since you said it, now my question is, like I was going to ask you now, a gay couple raising children, is that a natural thing? That's how would you justify? I'm simply, don't get me wrong, just sorry for putting you on the spot. Say how does, say like that say that you had a partner and you decided to adopt a child, and you take your child to school, and we still have set phrase, unfortunately, as you said, whether you like it or not.
That's in this country.
Yeah, but how would you justify who's the mother, who's the father, who's the guardian?
They're both fathers if they're a gay couple. If they're a lesbian couple, they're both the mothers. And actually, research has shown that kids being raised by lesbian parents are far more well-adjusted than kids raised by heterosexual people. So, I mean, and it's all research. I'm not just saying this just to get you all riled up, but it's the truth, So parenting has a lot to do with how you raise your child, not whether you are straight, gay, or two men or two women or whatever. How about all the single parents then? Children are raised by single parents all the time. Children are orphaned without any parents at all. And sometimes, I think to myself that heterosexual couples should take a test to make sure that they are capable of bringing up children, because I've seen such a lot of tragedy where children are concerned, that it's really frightening to think of all the children that have been orphaned, or not orphaned, but abandoned by their parents, because maybe they have had various issues. I'm not going to go down that road, but why would you prevent a child, being brought up in a loving environment just because the people who are bringing you up are two women or two men?
And you think that is absolutely defying that, perhaps,
I'm not the only one saying it. I mean, same-sex marriage is now legal in so many countries. Yeah, people are beginning to realize that marginalizing a person because of their sexual orientation or gender identity is really stupid in any democracy. You can't say you are more what should I say, equal than that person on the street or whatever. I mean, everybody is equal. When you cut your hand, the blood is all red.
I agree with you.
Queer people don't bleed green and blue. They bleed green.
Red? Yeah. My next question is, do these people at any point influence the children's, their sexual orientation? Are these kids at risk?
You can't make somebody gay, Charit. Yeah.
No, because I'm asking you, can you influence your kids?
I was born to heterosexual people. Yeah. My mother and father were heterosexual, as far as I know.
Okay, let me put it this way.
I was born gay. So can you readjust that question and ask, how is it that they didn't influence me to become a straight person?
Did they?
No. Why would they?
Okay. Well, the question is, now, if say someday that you have a partner, that you want to adopt a child, and when the child is growing up, can you influence the child in any way?
I can't influence anybody to be who they are. And this is what you really need to know, is that people need to be who they are. Parents trying to instill things into people's heads, into kids' heads, like it's bad to be gay, or it's not normal, or it's this or that, and trying to influence them into being something that they are not, causes them more trauma, than actually being left to do whatever they want to do, as long as it's within boundaries. I'm certainly not saying that they should go out and kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? And those kinds of boundaries. But you can't certainly try to instill your values onto a child. That child is not your property to mold into a little you.
It's very controversial, isn't it? That's what is happening in our culture.
It
that
might be happening in our culture, but
that
that doesn't mean to say it's a correct.
No, I'm not saying it is right, but all what I'm asking is it possible at some point that what if you find that your kids are straight? What would be your reaction? You coming from a different background, will that have any impact on you or your children?
No, it wouldn't. As far as I'm concerned, I would want my children to feel loved. I would want my children to feel that they can always come to me and talk to me just about anything. I would encourage them to be themselves, no matter who they are or what they are. And I just want them to succeed in life. That's all. That's all I would want for my children. I would love them unconditionally. You can't say that, just because you're queer, you don't get your parents' love, or you shouldn't get your parents' love. Yeah.
All right, people. The reason why I asked Rosanna that question, I was talking to a good friend of mine, a transgender, and before you, darling, I actually asked this person to come on my show, whom I thought it is a bit more controversial being transgender than straight lesbian or whatever.
Straight lesbian? No, I'm not straight.
You're queer.
Lesbian.
Lesbian.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. You're not straight. You're lesbian. Yeah. I thought that it'll be like a little more value being a lady like the Jenner, the Kardashian's husband. That guy who's making is making lots of money. So the concern that this person had, although she and now he wants to be on my show, they are raising 2 children. The impact that they will have on the kids in the event this person comes on the show. So can you believe that what this society is doing? They said they are already having issues in school because the other parents.
I absolutely know who you're talking about, but at the same time, different people have different levels of wanting to be out there. This couple, the person you're probably talking about, as you said, got killed with kids, and they are on a different journey. My journey is about making sure that people know in this country that LGBTIQ persons are citizens of this country. They deserve to be treated as humans, and they deserve to have the rights that everybody else enjoys. There has to be equality for everybody. So that's my journey. So I don't mind being on a show like this or whatever, and talk about rights and laws and various things like that. But somebody else may not feel comfortable doing it because as you said, children and all that, and who knows what problems they get in school because of who their parents are or whatever. I'm just hoping that there is.
So you have to keep up the fight to make people understand, and someday that that will accept.
And I think everybody, in the way they conduct their own personal lives, is also sending a message, because they were brave enough to do what they went ahead and did. Have married and transition, get married, have children, all of that. That's their journey, and they're also sending a message that it's perfectly normal for people who are of different backgrounds to be married and have kids and raise kids, as long as those kids are happy and they're loved and they're encouraged. I think all power to them. Yeah?
But as a lesbian, so you wouldn't you will never have a kid, will you? Or unless it's adopted.
I'm 63 years old. I mean, how can I have a kid right now?
No, I'm not talking now.
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
No, I never wanted kids actually. I'm not a child rearing type of person. Yeah, I prefer dogs actually.
Well, I love but now I'm coming to a very dodgy question. Since you so if everybody is gay in this world, so there won't be any children. And then the whole progression of this universe will stop. Everybody's gay. So where would where the whole evolution and where would that go?
Do you believe in God? Do you believe in God?
I don't believe in anything, darling. I'm a seeker.
Okay.
Someday if I meet God, then I say, yeah, hallelujah, I met God, but I don't know God.
So then, do you believe in yin and yang?
Yin and yang? Yes. I think there is something called
positive, negative.
Yes.
Different. Yeah. So the world is full of opposites. Yeah. So there's straight, there's gay. There is female, there's male. There is, homosexuality or same-sex relationships are not only,
It's a question. I have to have another drink.
You can have another drink. But it's not sort of only within the human population that this happens. It is also very much prevalent in the animal kingdom.
Really?
Of course.
You reckon there are dodgy animals?
Dodgy?
No, I mean, yeah, sorry.
You thinking that I'm dodgy? Is that what it is?
I don't know.
How dare you call me dodgy?
Here you go. And I mean,
now you're definitely asking for a slap. Yeah? How dare you call me dodgy? I mean, because I'm gay, I'm dodgy?
No,
Come on.
No.
Take it back.
Okay, I'm taking it back. Okay, my apologies for, in the it's gone
dodgy. What kind of dodgy mother are you? Seriously.
But I don't see, any, gay animals and, doing
that. There's something called Google. Please Google it and see.
Yeah. You will see,
There's a guy named Bruce Bagamill who has done a research on animals and nature, and because you're such a bloody mark sometimes, yeah. Dodgy. Yeah. Go to Google, Macha, and Google these things, okay, before you come and say all kinds of shit.
I just thought in my head, here comes, like a big swing.
Animal.
I was like, oh my
God. You're making me sweat, man. Come on.
That's the idea. I'm making this lady sweat. Yeah, go on. Yeah. So, but my question is, do you agree everybody's gay? There won't be any evolution here.
It can't be. It can't be. What you're suggesting is completely impossible.
What is impossible? So you mean in this world there'll be gays and there won't be non-gays? That's what you're saying?
No, I'm saying it's impossible for the entire world to be straight or for the entire world to be gay. It's impossible.
So there's balance in this world,
balance,
in this matrix.
Have you heard of the balance of nature?
Yeah.
That's what it is, the balance of nature. Right. Machang, if everybody had kids, right? Can you imagine the burden in this world? If everybody who was, producing mass quantities of kids, we have so much overpopulation as it is. Don't you think that this is a balance of nature where some persons just, don't have to have kids or want to have kids?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I know straight couples who don't want to have kids. Yeah.
Yep. Doesn't mean that they're gay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there are gay people who want to have kids, and there are gay people who don't want to have kids. Same story. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there you go, people. That I asked a very awkward question, which I wanted to ask for a long time, and thanks for your clarification, darling. That's straight up. Just the before we came on camera, you had are you involved in any kind of sports and always before I wind up and that how I know that back in the day the U.S. Army had a huge problem with with gay laws and which they and I think most of the people who were identified and had repercussions or that there were consequences
Yes.
being gay. I remember my one of the coaches I have worked with, a brilliant person, absolutely brilliant guy, Graham Ford. And when he was coaching Surrey, I don't want to mention the guy's name.
You just did.
No, not the coach.
Okay.
I was talking about one of the guys whom he coached.
Right.
He played for England, and the entire team had reservations about the guy, always. But one day after a match, he came out, and whilst the whole team having a drink, he announced, said that he's gay, and as a coach, and the guy was saying how hard it was that some of the guys were reluctant to go to the showers with him thereafter, and the guy, but still he carried on. I mean, he eventually went on to play for England, and I suppose being different, these people are subjected to a lot of harassment, and you know
what it is basically, that people just can't get beyond the sex. Yeah. The minute you say you're gay, immediately they go to the sex part of it. They don't think that two men can have a loving relationship. I know gay couples who have been together for like 50 odd years. Yeah. I know lesbian couples who have been together for that long as a period of time as well. I mean, there are some people who just can't stay in a relationship, just like heterosexual people. And then there are other people who can be in loving relationships for like the rest of their lives. Yeah. So we're all different. But I think the biggest flaw with a lot of people's thinking is that immediately they jump to what do we do in bed? Yeah, they jump to the sex part immediately. So it's like everything after that is then skewed with that lens. I mean, we have sex, yeah. You have sex, yeah. What's the big deal? Yeah. But they're more focused on, how I have sex than how you have sex.
It's mainly because of what is pre-programmed into their
Exactly.
stupid brains, and that people pass judgment. Yeah. And how? I'm gonna just say, what are you talking about? Yeah, well, yeah. We're talking about just before, like you questioned me off the camera that about the Sri Lankan cricket,
The
women's cricket team.
Yes. There was a horrible article a couple of weeks ago where some cricket coach had outed several women, claiming that they were corrupting younger players, and that there is a lot of lesbianism in sports, and lesbianism is a word that they use, not we. That's such an archaic word. We don't even use that anymore. But it also went on to sort of like point a finger, saying the older girl was corrupting the younger girl. So there's a pedophilic kind of angle to it. But if I'm not mistaken, if you look at sports teams, women's sports teams, even women's, single players like tennis players, or I don't know, whatever, table tennis players, whoever, being gay or lesbian shouldn't preclude you from being on the national team. Yeah, if you're a good player, what does it matter? And yes, people do get into relationships because they are thrown together all the time. Now, if it was a mixed team and you saw a man and a woman getting together from that team, you wouldn't question it. Nobody's questioning the kinds of sexual harassment that those girls have faced from coaches and various other male members of cricket teams and stuff like that. So they only want to focus on this salaciousness, this titillating story about younger women being seduced into being lesbians. Yeah, you can't turn anybody to be a lesbian or a gay person. I mean, you are or you're not. Yeah, it's like if I don't want to sleep with a man, I don't want to sleep with a man. You can't tell me, even if you tell me, darling. It's not going to happen.
I have never hit on lesbian, I should try that in the future for sure. After meeting you,
who can tell?
Now that you said,
so there might be a miracle every once in a while. But what I'm saying is that you either are or you're not. Yeah, and to put it out there in the press, actually talking about these women and making them feel as though their relationship is filthy and abhorrent and all of that. Is just not only showing the caliber of the coach that's writing that, but also trying to hide other things as well, which we won't go into. But the bottom line is, okay, what does that have to do with the price of eggs, really? If you're playing well for your team, what does it matter? Yeah.
But does that give you an advantage, like hormonally, that are you stronger than a normal?
No, it's just attitude. No, it's just attitude.
Think so?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But why that, like the little experience that I have had as, like a manager, managing teams, and how come the girls who are, I wouldn't even look at, I wouldn't say that she's lesbian or what, but I would say more inclined that way they become, like the top sportsmen, and, like the girls who play cricket, rugby, even contact sports, or like mainly I think team sports or contact sports. Is it due to their hormone imbalance that they become?
There's no hormonal imbalance in being gay. Yeah, that's first and foremost. It's not a medical thing. It is just a thing. It's just chromosomes. It's just that. Yeah. The bottom line is that you have no idea as a woman what one has to go through in order to achieve anything in this world. They have to try a hell of a lot harder than any man. Yeah.
I agree with you.
So
only this part of the world.
No,
because there is
everywhere.
No okay.
Everywhere. Okay. I mean, in some parts of the world, it's more accepted, yes, but by no stretch of the imagination is it easy for women anywhere in this world. Okay, that's for starters. And the bottom line is that as women, we have to strive a lot harder. We have to prove ourselves a lot more. I mean, even in business, even in, so if we are stern or we are good at what we do, we're immediately a bitch or something else. But if a man is behaving the same way, he's a good boss. Yeah. So there you have it. The problem is that everybody is very quick to judge women and put them down because of who they are. And I'm afraid to even say this, but even women do that. Yeah. Even women fall into this whole trap where they discuss other women who are, bosses or, doing well and try to pull them down. And that's, I think, one of the biggest issues that we have here in Sri Lanka is that, as feminists or as part of a women's movement, it is the women in that movement, it's the women, that we are trying to actually educate and stuff. They're the very ones who have bought into the whole patriarchal, system and continue to hold this lamp up for every single male that, they come across or in their family or whatever. So, we are just as much culpable as the guys, as far as that is concerned. So, I mean, in Sri Lanka, we have a long way to go, and women themselves who suffer domestic abuse, for example, I mean, they are just brainwashed to think, oh, it's culture, that's the way it should be, things like that. But it's not. It's not. How dare anybody raise their hand to anybody? Yeah, including a man to a woman or a woman to a man or anybody, woman to woman, man to man. Nobody should, think that they have power over somebody else for whatever reason. So, I think, a lot of things where women are concerned are sort of twisted around to serve various purposes.
Thank you on that. Before we conclude tonight, Rosanna, it's always, pleasure talking, listening to you, talking to you. I actually didn't feel the time moving. Just that the big election coming up. Beg your pardon, the election coming up.
Just waiting to say that. Just waiting to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. On the 16th.
Yes.
And you reckon that, we don't know what the outcome is going to be, whatever it is, will it have an impact on your activities, or do you have any personal preference?
No, I think, that voting is a very personal thing. But I just have to ask people this, we have a really bad system, a really bad political system, and if that political system is not going to change anytime soon, no matter who comes into power.
True.
But what will be affected is civil liberties, and we had a conversation about this earlier. Do you want to give up your civil liberties to vote somebody in who is most definitely going to curb those liberties? That is the question. That is a question that everybody should ask themselves. And please don't stay in your ivory tower out there and think, oh, everything's going to be rosy because you're rich and your business is going to flourish. It's going to come and bite you in the ass at some point. So
exactly
be
as
very
I said.
careful who you vote for.
Rosanna, it's a pleasure. Ideally, I think I should not be the one holding this show. It should be you. I mean, it's you're simply brilliant, and it's amazing talking to you. And I'm happy that I made the choice. And lots of people had their reservations talking to you, and everyone thought that it's too early in my show talking to you. I said, no, I'm going to talk to this person.
You must talk about controversial issues, man.
Yeah,
that's what it's all
and
about.
I think that's what life is all about. And I'm glad that I made that decision. I thank my team, for encouraging me.
I thank your team too. I mean, I think they're great. Yeah, they encourage me more than you. So yeah, I'm on your side.
Yeah. And everyone who's out there who listens to us, and thank you very much. I hope that we made you enjoy listenable, pleasurable, and on a rainy Wednesday evening in Colombo. It's a nice place. She lives, by the way, just close to my house, a place that I know pretty well. And so it's going to be our last show for a while, because you don't know what's in store for us after 16.
Exactly.
And
but Charit, I want to just say thank you for having me on the show.
No.
And I think that in the way you're doing these shows and stuff like that, it really helps for people who are tuning in to actually get a better picture of whatever subject you're talking about. So I'm glad you had me on the show.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure
really
having
happy,
you.
That you picked me. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Thank you very much.
And thanks everybody for listening in and sending all your comments and your likes, your dislikes, whatever. Great.
And I just want to say a big thank you to there are good people out there
Mm-hmm.
who's been listening to us. Sometimes I walk into a supermarket and I meet amazing people, and they wouldn't comment, but they would walk up to you and say, "Hey, mate, we love what you're doing."
Good.
And there are guys like similar people out there who very generously donated the equipment that I used. I hope my audio and the video quality is better than what it was last time. And that person, thank you. Yeah, that person, and seriously, he doesn't want to be identified on air. And there are a few other people who have come forward and say that that I need better lighting, and people who have, then Jai, if you're listening out there from Australia, thank you, mate, for coming forward and, offering us to buy the equipment. Appreciate it.
I thought you said you didn't want to be named.
No, there are several guys. There are several. There's one guy. That So thank you to all those people. I should be grateful and thankful, and for in order for me to carry on, regardless of the outcome on the 16th.
Yeah.
My intention is to perhaps we'll have more people. We'll have what is in store for us the next 5 years or whatever. And so once again, people, as Rosanna rightly said, it's a time to think. And my show is over until the next one, and your show is coming up, on Saturday. So be prepared and think wisely. You still got 2 more days to go. I think all the election campaign comes to an end this evening.
Thank God.
Yeah.
You don't have to get stuck in that traffic from now on.
Absolutely. I hope the bloody rubbish, the nonsense that is going on there, and the pollution and everything will stop, and people have 2 good days and have a good Friday. And in fact, I wanted to have a pre-election party on Friday.
Election party.
Yeah, election party. Thanks for correcting me. Let's say sometimes I get confused with my L's and R's. It happens.
One thing I want to say about this election thing, and I know we are over time, but
I just
hope that at some point in time we can just think about saving the environment from all this rubbish that's posted all over the place. The posters, the cutouts, the rubbish that's left after all the rallies. You president types, make sure that when you get into power, the first thing you do, you clean up this bloody country, okay?
Yep, you clean it up. And if you saw that, the video that I posted on my wall, there is this unknown foreigner early morning getting up, walking around with the polythene bag, collecting all the garbage left by our people.
That's right.
Now that guy is an example, what our Sri Lankan should be.
I was in Colorado recently, and the monkeys are eating all the garbage, and they're putting their hands into polythene, and they're dying because they've eaten the polythene, and it's all fantastic roads in Colorado. There's fantastic roads, but the garbage is everywhere. I mean, this is supposed to be an ancient city. I mean, why are we polluting?
Why do we want to become a garbage nation? That's what the lady is saying. So people, on that note, once again, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Rosanna. I hope you and whatever you do in your life, no matter who comes to power on the 16th, carry on with your work. I hope that you will have all the strength and the support,
Thank you so
like-minded people, and we'll always be there. And if I said something wrong, and I take my words back, and my apologies. Thank you very much once again, people, being with us, and we'll see you soon. Another show, A Drink with Tariq. Thank you very much. Bomi Stuti. See you soon. Good night. Bye-bye.
Send to this world. Now we see all the action. The man in his